Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on a really interesting part of healthcare tech.
That's right. The global market for endoscopy devices.
We've got this new report, the Global Endoscopy Device Market Report 2025 from Cognitive Market Research. Lots of data in here.
Absolutely. And it's timely, with healthcare moving more towards monitoring and, well, less invasive treatments.
Yeah, understanding this market feels pretty important right now.
So this deep dive is really about pulling out the key stuff, the main trends, the big numbers, so you get a clear sense of what's going on.
Exactly. We want to give you that solid overview, size, growth, what's driving it, without getting totally lost in the weeds.
Right. Finding those key insights.
And honestly, there's some surprising bits in here, even for what seems like a niche area.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture. The report estimates the global market at USD 602 and 5, 14.8 million for 2025.
So $62.5 billion.
Yeah. And the growth, they're projecting a CAGR that's compound annual growth rate of 4.0% from 2025 right through to 2033.
Okay, 4% yearly growth,
Mhm.
compounding. Where does that take the market?
It's forecast to hit USD 855.82047 million by 2033. So over 85.5 billion.
Wow. Okay, so a substantial market getting significantly bigger.
Definitely. And the report uses 2024 as a base year, looks back from 2021, estimates 25, and projects out to 33. Gives us a good time frame.
Got it. So where's this growth happening? Let's look at the regions.
Right. So North America, it's currently the largest chunk. Over 40% of the global revenue.
Over 40%. That's huge.
For 2025, the estimate is USD 2,330.48 million. So just over $23 billion.
Okay, but what about the growth rate there? You mentioned the global average is 4%.
Good point. North America's CAGR is actually lower, projected at 2.5%.
Interesting. So a big base, but slower expansion compared to the average. What's the breakdown within North America?
Well, the U.S. is the giant, obviously.
Yeah.
About USD 149.95 million in 2025
Hmm.
with a 2.3% CAGR. Tech innovation is a big factor there.
Right.
Then you've got Canada, around USD 2,775.66 million, growing a bit faster at 3.3% CAGR. The report links that to demand for personalized health monitoring.
Okay.
And Mexico's significant too, USD 2104.87 million with a 3.0% CAGR.
So North America is strong, established, but maybe not where the most explosive growth is happening right now.
Exactly. Steady but not explosive. Now, Europe, that's another major player.
Okay, what's their share?
Over 30% of the market, estimated at USD 1,829.29 million for 2025.
So more than 18 billion. And their growth.
Their CAGR is projected at 3.1%, so a little bit stronger than North America's overall rate.
And within Europe.
I-
Are standouts?
Yeah, it's kind of varied. The UK, for instance, has a pretty solid projected CAGR of 3.9%, hitting about USD 345.72 million. The report suggests awareness campaigns might be playing a role there.
Interesting. Early detection focus, maybe.
Could be. Germany's also big, USD 3,589.60 million with 3.3% growth. They're often quick to adopt advanced tech.
Makes sense. What about other key countries?
France is around USD 167.89 million, 2.3% CAGR. Italy, USD 159.199.12%. Russia's quite large in market size, USD 208810.04 million, but slower growth at 2.1%. And Spain, about USD 1486.60 million, 2.2% CAGR.
So a real mix across Europe, reflecting different healthcare systems and priorities, I guess.
Precisely. It's not uniform at all.
Okay, let's shift gears then. You mentioned less explosive growth in North America. Where's the fastest growth happening?
That would be the Asia-Pacific region.
APAC.
Right. What's their current share?
It's around 23% currently. Market size estimated at USD 15,003.55 million for 2025.
15 billion. Okay, smaller than Europe and North America right now.
And this is the key point, their projected CAGR is 6.6%.
6.6%. Wow, that's significantly higher than the others.
Yeah, it's the highest across all regions.
Yeah.
Indicates really strong expansion ahead.
What's driving that boom in APAC?
Well, China is a massive factor.
Yeah.
Market size of USD 601.49 million, so over 6 billion, and growing at 6.1% CAGR.
Well, it's pushing China's growth. The report points to a preference for ambulatory surgical centers, like outpatient centers. They often favor minimally invasive stuff, which use these devices.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. Who else is growing fast in APAC?
Japan and South Korea are strong too. CAGRs of 5.1% and 5.7% respectively. Advanced healthcare systems there. But the real standout, according to this report, India.
Oh, yeah. What are their numbers?
Market size around USD 1,500.36 million, so 1.5 billion, but the KGR is projected at a massive 8.5%.
8.5%. That's huge. Why such rapid growth there?
It seems to be driven by a big increase in demand for minimally invasive surgery as, healthcare access improves and people become more aware.
A major shift happening there then. Anyone else notable in APAC?
Singapore also has a very high KGR, 6.9%, suggests rapid tech adoption. Australia is solid too, around USD 780 million market, 5.9% growth.
Okay, so APAC is definitely the region to watch for future growth. What about the other areas? South America?
South America's share is smaller, just over 5%,
Hmm,
but USD 375.56 million in 2025.
but still growing reasonably well.
Yeah, a respectable 4.7% CAGR overall. Brazil's the largest market there, over $1 billion. USD 1016.74 million and growing at 5.3%.
And what's driving Brazil's growth? Similar trends.
Seems so. Increased adoption of minimally invasive surgery again. Argentina is also growing quite fast, 5.6% CAGR on a smaller base of around USD 399 million, linked to tech advancements.
Got it. And the Middle East and Africa. Smaller markets, I assume?
Yeah, around 2% and 1% market share respectively right now.
But are they growing?
Definitely. The Middle East market is about USD 2,500.59 million with a 5.2% CAGR. Saudi Arabia and the UAE show strong growth, 5.5% and 5.7% CAGRs.
Interesting.
Places like Qatar and Turkey are notable too. Qatar around USD 200 million market, 4.7% growth, likely boosted by healthcare investments. Turkey, similar size but faster growth at 5.8%, possibly helped by medical tourism.
And Africa.
Africa's market is about USD 1,375.33 million, growing at 4.3% CAGR. South Africa is the largest piece there, about USD 484 million, growing at 5.2%. Nigeria is smaller, around 110 million, but growing at 4.5%, maybe showing a focus on healthcare innovation.
Okay, that's a fantastic tour of the globe. Really diverse picture. Now let's break down the market by the actual devices. The report says endoscopes themselves dominate.
That's right. It makes sense, really. You've got that huge push for minimally invasive procedures.
Right, less cutting, faster recovery.
Exactly. Plus, there's a rising prevalence of GI issues, respiratory problems, conditions where you need these tools for diagnosis and treatment.
And technology keeps improving them too, right?
Absolutely. Things like AI helping with diagnostics,
Yeah.
disposable scopes for hygiene. It all keeps demand high for the endoscopes themselves.
Makes total sense. But the report also flags visualization systems as the fastest growing segment. Why is that?
Well, visualization is critical for minimally invasive surgery, isn't it? You need to see what you're doing.
True. Better visibility, better surgery.
Precisely. So as MIS grows, demand for better visualization grows. Think high definition, 4K imaging, even 3D systems. AI is also getting integrated here, helping analyze images.
AI again.
Yep. Plus, the aging population often needs more complex procedures, driving demand for these advanced systems.
So better tech enabling better, safer procedures is fueling that growth. What other types of devices does the report mention? It seems like a complex ecosystem.
Oh yeah, it's comprehensive. You've got rigid endoscopes, flexible ones, even robot-assisted endoscopes, capsule endoscopy too, the little pill cameras.
Right.
Then there are all the supporting devices, energy systems for cutting or sealing tissue, suction and irrigation to keep the view clear, access devices, specialized hand instruments.
Lots of components.
For sure. Even things like insufflation devices, wound protectors, snares, and ultrasound devices are often integrated. Plus, the visualization systems themselves split into standard definition, high definition, 2D, 3D, lots of options.
It's definitely a high-tech field. Okay, so how about where these devices are used, the applications? Gastrointestinal surgery is the biggest.
Yeah, holds the largest share. Again, it links back to the high rates of digestive disorders globally.
And the preference for minimally invasive ways to treat them.
Exactly. Plus factors like aging populations, rising obesity rates, they often contribute to GI problems, further driving demand in that area.
Okay, but what about fast-growing applications? The report mentioned ENT surgery, ear, nose, and throat.
That's right. It's expanding rapidly. Similar reasons again. More ENT disorders being diagnosed and treated, and a growing demand for less invasive options.
Is AI playing a role there too?
Apparently so. The report specifically mentions AI integration in ENT endoscopy is helping boost diagnostic capabilities. That seems to be contributing to the rapid growth.
Interesting how AI keeps popping up. What other applications are significant?
The report also lists urology, cardiovascular surgery, neuro and spinal surgery, general laparoscopy, and arthroscopy surgery. So really broad use across many surgical fields.
It highlights how versatile these technologies have become. So let's summarize the big forces driving this whole market forward. Tech advancements seem key.
Definitely number one, constant innovation in imaging, materials, functionality, making procedures safer, more effective.
And that ties directly into the second driver, right? The preference for minimally invasive surgery.
Absolutely. Patients want faster recovery, less pain, fewer complications. Surgeons prefer it when possible, too. It's a win-win that fuels demand.
And the third driver mentioned was investment in healthcare infrastructure.
Yeah, you need the hospitals, the clinics, the resources to actually perform these advanced procedures. So investment there enables market growth.
Makes sense. But it can't all be smooth sailing. What about things holding the market back? Restraints.
Well, cost is a big one. These advanced endoscopy procedures can be expensive.
Yeah, that's often the case with cutting-edge med tech. Accessibility can be an issue.
For sure. It can limit use in some healthcare systems or for some patients.
What else?
Another key restraint is a shortage of trained physicians.
Ah,
You need specialists with the skills to use these complex devices effectively.
that's critical. The tech is great, but you need the expertise to wield it. Training becomes really important.
Exactly. There's a need for more training programs.
Okay. Looking ahead then, what are the major trends shaping the future here?
One clear trend is endoscopy being used more and more for treatment, not just diagnosis. It's becoming a therapeutic tool.
So moving beyond just looking to actually intervening more.
Right. And tied to that is a demand for even more advanced solutions, better diagnostics, more sophisticated therapeutic tools, maybe even things like targeted drug delivery via endoscope.
It really feels like the field is pushing towards more precision, less invasion, better outcomes.
That's the direction, yes.
And finally, the competitive landscape. Who are the main companies involved?
It's described as highly competitive. You've got big global players and smaller regional ones too.
Any familiar names?
Oh yeah. The report lists names like Olympus, Boston Scientific, Pentax Medical, that's part of Hoya Corporation, Fujifilm, Karl Storz, Stryker, Medtronic, Ambu.
Okay, yeah, those are definitely major names in medical devices. So a lot of established players fighting for market share.
Exactly. And they're constantly innovating. The report even mentions Fujifilm launching a new ultrasonic probe system back in February 2023 as an example of that activity.
Shows how dynamic it is. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've dived into the global endoscopy device market.
Based on that 2025 report?
Right. We've seen it's a big market, well over $60 billion and set to grow steadily, reaching over $85 billion by 2033.
With APAC, especially India, showing really rapid growth, even though North America still holds the biggest current share.
And the key drivers are clear. Tech advancements and the big shift towards minimally invasive procedures.
Yeah, and within that, visualization systems in ENT surgery are segments growing particularly fast.
But there are challenges too, like the high cost and the need for more trained specialists.
True, but the overall trend is towards wider use, more sophisticated tech for both diagnosis and treatment.
So, thinking about all this, it leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. With all this growth and tech advancement, how do you think this will really change healthcare access and patient outcomes globally in the next decade?
Yeah, and what other innovations are just around the corner? We talked about AI, but what else might emerge as this market keeps expanding? Could we see even more personalized endoscopic treatments?
It really makes you think about equitable access to these tools worldwide, doesn't it? And the training needed.
Definitely. And maybe totally new types of endoscopic tech we haven't even conceived of yet.
Lots to consider. If this sparked your interest, maybe dig deeper into those specific tech advancements or look at the healthcare trends in places like India or Southeast Asia.
Good suggestion.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.